Good morning. It's Monday. I've done about 2 hours work already. I think it's about 7 o'clock by the time I'm recording this. So usually I don't have breakfast as soon as I get up. It doesn't, sit really well with me. So I'm going to show you what I pretty much have every single day of the week, just because it's easy. Sunday I tend to have something slightly different, like scrambled eggs or smoked salmon. But let me show you what I've got. And this is raw and uncut, so check out the bed hair. But anyway, let me show you this. Some people say that weighing out food is really hard. I don't agree with that as such. I think it's quite easy in my opinion, but I mean I've done this for quite some time. I live on my own, so let me just show you how I do that. So bowl, so scales to 0. There you go. And I'm going to add some oats. And about 100 grams. Close enough. Boom. There you go. 100 grams of oats. With dust. And then I just tear that, set it to 0. Add some blueberries. If you watched my vlog from last week, you saw that I'm really going to try and push these in. So I usually have about 70 or 80 grams. Tear it to 0. And then I'm going to finish off this milk carton. So I tend to have the green milk. I might eventually change this to the blue as my macros get down lower. And I've perfected this to my own liking. So I tend to have about 350 mils of milk, which is roughly 350 grams. There you go, 360, that'll do. And then I'm going to microwave for I'm going to microwave this for 2 minutes, stir, and then for another 2 minutes, and then I'll show you. So here is breakfast. We've got the 100 grams of oats with blueberries and milk. I'm also adding in a scoop of whey protein powder. I'll just use Protein Works. It's fairly inexpensive and it tastes pretty good. And I've got 3 fish oils, which is the equivalent of around just over 1 gram of EPA and DHA combined, which is a fairly good dose of essential fatty acids. And then I've got 1 pill of vitamin D3, and this one is 4,000 IUs. I just use bulk powders. For the fish oils, I use the high strength fish oils, and the vitamin D, I use Now Foods. The reason why I'm having the protein shake with porridge is to bump up my protein intake. So I usually aim to get around 27 to 45 grams of protein per meal. That is currently the recommendations for protein feedings throughout the day, which is the equivalent of around 0.3 to 0.5 grams of leucine per kilo. So leucine is the primary essential amino acid that you want to have in your protein feedings in order to maximize your muscle recovery and muscle gain or tone, whatever you want to call it. So you want to have that every 3 to 4 hours throughout the day. So that's why I'm adding that in, because the porridge alone is not enough, and the protein powder just supplements the porridge to bump it up a little bit. It's Tuesday night, and I had a bit of a nightmare of a day. It's been absolutely bonkers. Basically, we were opening the studio this week, and today was the first day for us to trial it out, so we can roll it out officially on Monday next week. As a result, I've literally only had breakfast, and it is now 7:30 at night. As a result, I've only had time to eat breakfast. I've trained, and I've pretty much missed 2 meals, which it's not a big thing if your goal is to lose weight. So if you skip lunch, that's fine, which might mean that my dinner would probably be lighter, therefore my calorie deficit would be even bigger. However, because I am trying to target this in a most optimal way, Therefore, I need to make sure I need to eat properly, or I eat properly today, because I've got training tomorrow. And let's give you a rough idea. So let's say I skipped a meal today, which is 600 calories thereabouts. And then I'm going to have dinner, and then I'm going to have breakfast tomorrow, and then I'm going to do my session. Now, I'm going to be one meal short on that session tomorrow, which may or may not affect my performance. And that's the ultimate key for me, is to make sure I'm fueling my training properly. Because if I'm not, my training will suffer. And if my training suffers, I can't do anything with it. I can get hurt, and then I'll hate life. So this is slightly different compared to the average population, as in if you were to lose some weight, so if skipping the lunch and having a dinner with great calorie deficit, it's totally fine. I could have picked today a somewhat unhealthy option to make up the calories for tomorrow. However, I want to eat properly, and although I follow If It Fits Your Macros, I would rather leave things higher in calories and looked at as not so healthy for something like the weekend, where I might actually sit down and enjoy it properly. Something like a pizza, because I've got 3 in the fridge which I'm already eyeing up, and that doesn't mean I'm going to binge on them, but I could have easily eaten 1 today plus dinner. That's how short I am. But I'm going to show you a snapshot. I think I've only had 1100 calories and I need to make 2800. So check this out. We've got 200 grams of pasta. I bloody love pasta. It's sitting really well in my stomach. This is actually 2 lunches. I'm going to cook something else for tomorrow for lunch, but I basically made some 5% lean beef meat. Just fried it, mixed it with some veg, and I like it. I like my food fairly plain and simple. I just mix it with some veg. You can't see it, but all the veg is sort of at the bottom. So I've literally got 400 grams of mince, 5% lean beef. And then, this is really weird, but I like it. We've got some mozzarella cheese in there. Yes, I've just messed that up. Anyway, mozzarella cheese. And that is spinach at the bottom. I know, weird blend. I like it. Because I've missed a meal, I'm missing my veggies. I can't eat too many vegetables before bed because it will bloat me out and I'll be bloated as hell. So this is what sometimes I have to do, which I quite enjoy in a weird way, and it's something completely fine to do. If you enjoy having a small breakfast or not having breakfast at all, and you like having a semi-decent lunch, sort of like a chicken wrap or a jacket potato or a salad, and then you like to gorge at night with a massive 3-course meal, that is fine, as long as you're not overeating. And that is the issue with a lot of people. They'll sit down. I find that it's usually the pudding or the dessert that kills them. So, I'll chat to you another day. Ciao.
Good morning, guys. So it's Wednesday morning, and I actually just weighed myself before, but let me show you this. I'm actually going to put that in pounds because it'll make more sense. So, I was actually 201 before. That is post a 1700 calorie dinner last night, and I ate that about 8 p.m. It's 5 a.m. now. So, there you have it.
Yo! Just finished my first outdoor session. We had to do 15 lots of 200 meters every 2 minutes. It's called every minute on a minute, but it's actually every 2 minutes. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't full-on sprints, but it was lovely. The weather's perfect for me. I'm not the smallest guy around, so I am not very built for running, as some of you can imagine. So running in this weather for me is absolutely amazing. I cool off so much easier. I literally overheat in the summer. So if you ever see me running in the summer, you will see me topless. Not because I want to show off or anything like that. It's just simply because I literally overheat and I get more tired as a result. So yeah, it felt great. The weight loss this week made a huge difference. I feel so light on my feet. My breathing felt amazing. All the running I've done in the past 2 weeks or so has been on the curved treadmill, which I bloody love at the moment. But yeah, like it felt amazing. So it just goes to show if you lose a little bit of weight, your running does get a little bit better. But let's see how I get on it over the next few weeks as I drop a little bit more weight. Yeah, it was quite funny on our way back. So just plodding along, one of my friend's mums stopped and approached me, thinking it was her son running just because of the size of his calves. So it turns out that I'm not the only one with well-developed calves, even though I don't train them. So there's another genetic freak out there. So props to you, son. But yeah, that was quite funny. And it was mid-workout, which was a bit annoying. But hey-ho. Had a bit of a shocker also because I used my phone this time around. I've got a Garmin watch, but was using my phone to record my data, so record my sprints or my cruise intervals. But unfortunately, it ran out of battery halfway through because I actually wanted to show you one of the reasons why I love running, especially in the countryside through the green lanes in Jersey. It's just I just love the scenery. I love how fresh everything is and green. Well, it's a bit grey at the moment, but you get the vibe. So yeah, I'm about to do a food shop. I'm going to Grand Marché, and I want to show you after what I've bought. It's basically just my staples. Might help you, it might not, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I'll check in later. Ciao. Hello. So I've done a food shop. I'm going to show you what I tend to eat pretty much every day of the week. Nothing really changes that much. I mean, if I'm craving something, I'll probably add it in. So things like muffins, for example. I love the muffins from being around the world, so I tend to have those sometimes after training. The banana muffins or the zucchini muffins. But yeah, I'm just going to show you what I tend to eat. Yeah, there we have it. So I'm going to start over here with my proteins. I don't eat a lot of fish. Don't know why. I mean, I tend to eat salmon every now and then, but at the moment I'm just not feeling it at the moment. It sits really well, really heavy on my stomach, so I don't tend to eat it very often. But I've got some chicken. This will probably last me the whole week. This tends to be my primary protein source, and as you can tell, I shop at Co-op just because it's cheaper and the food is just as good as Waitrose in any other place. So prices are pretty good. So if you can see here, you get almost a kilo for £7, and then I just got a little bit extra. I think the price, I mean, I'm not the best mathematician, but I think the price is pretty much the same when it comes to the kilo. But that's the kind of things you want to pay attention to if you shop on a budget. So then I've got this. I'm going through a stage of lean beef at the moment. Don't know why, it just tastes so good. But the thing I like about this the most is the fact that it's 5%, so it's probably the leanest you're going to get. And at Co-op, it's the exact same price as 10% lean beef. So go shop there, mate. And then I bought some fruit. Lady apples? Oh, pink lady apples. Forgot the name of them. By far the best apples ever. I got some easy peelers, some bananas, some ginger for something I don't know what. Maybe for some cooking eventually. Maybe I'm going to add that to the chicken. I don't know. I'll think about it. I just fancied some ginger somewhere. Got one of these. Little melon. I forgot the name of these also, but the only reason why I got it is because it was reduced. And the calories on these are ridiculous. Like, this whole thing's probably like 100 calories, I reckon, if not less. And it's pretty tasty. Also, I've been getting into these quite a bit. This is just root mash. It's mashed potato and carrot and swede with a little bit of butter and seasoning. I'll show you at the back the macros. Let's see if that will focus. The macros are pretty damn good. When it comes to ingredients, I think it's amazing. I mean, butter, I'm cool with butter if you're cool with butter. I mean, 3% out of all of this, it's literally nothing. The only thing we're missing out on is obviously it won't have as much fiber as if you were to make that from scratch. So it doesn't fill you up as much. But I tell you what, this whole thing will fill me up massively. I'm a guy of convenience. I mean, I don't really buy ready meals. That's probably as ready meal as it's going to get. But usually I do tend to cook from scratch. But at the moment, I'm so busy with work that I find what works for me and allows me to stick to my diet. And then I've got this. It's similar, but it's just mashed potato. A little bit higher in fat, but nothing too crazy. Again, ingredients on the back. It's potato, some milk, some butter, some salt and some pepper. Don't worry about salt. I drink plenty of fluids. I work out. I don't have any heart conditions or anything like that, so I'm good to go. The macros are pretty spot on. I can never make good mashed potato, even if I cook it from scratch. So I find those little packets are amazing. I mean, I tend to cook my proteins in bulk, which I'm going to show you next week. So I tend to cook this in bulk, and then when I go home from a busy day, I will literally just marry this with a packet of these, or maybe go half and half, and then I'll have some veg, and then that's it, I'm good to go. But one of my other main carb sources, for those of you who don't know, this is carbs, but one of the other main carb sources I tend to use is pasta. This is mainly pre-training. I need to eat very plain foods before training, otherwise, I don't know, I just don't feel right. So pasta, it's just amazing. 100 grams of this is like 70 carbs, so I struggle to get my carbs in, believe it or not. So pasta is an amazing carb source for me, and it's nice to eat cold. So yeah, I also use rice, and you may wonder, why do I not use whole grain pasta? No reason in particular, I just prefer this. Whole grain pasta's got a bit more protein, a bit more fiber, might fill you up a little bit more. For those reasons, in fact, I don't have it because I have this pre-training, so I want something that will digest quite quickly. Because my training sessions are sort of, well, it may vary. So if I've got a double session, it tends to be sort of 1.5 to 2 hours of training. And this just sits really well in my stomach. Then I've got milk. I go for the almost fat one, just because it's so good, and I don't mind sacrificing macros for it. I don't go fat-free or low fat. I will probably eventually have to go for the blue one. But the 2.5% is just amazing with oats, which is what I tend to have for breakfast. And I also have it with my post-workout shake. So that's the milk I eat, drink even. Then I've got another protein source here. I don't know if you've heard of these. This is Greek-style Greek yogurt. If you look at the back, look at the ingredients list, look at that. There's jack all in this. It's literally the same as total Greek yogurt. The same macros. I think the macros might actually be a bit better. Maybe slight, like a gram difference in terms of protein per 100 grams. But you're talking almost a quid cheaper per tub. So, and it's also super creamy. I mean, I'm not going to open one now, but it's ridiculously creamy. Now, this whole thing, you're talking less than 300 calories for the whole thing, and almost 50 grams of protein. That with a little bit of fruit on the side, bam. Big snack for me. Veg. Now, this varies. I keep it quite simple. I love kale. Not because it's another superfood. I just really enjoy it. Enjoy the taste. I enjoy the texture. I don't boil it. I tend to just put it in a hot pan with loads of salt. Loads of garlic, a little bit of salt and pepper, and I just literally just cook it for a little bit until it goes a little bit crispy, and then it's kind of like crispy vegetables, I guess. So yeah, I tend to have this quite a bit, so I'll happily eat this whole bag, but I usually only have about half or so. And then I have these, so we've got 1, 2, 3 different types of veggies in there. Bit of vitamin A, vitamin C. Oh, hang on, there's carrots as well. Completely forgot about that. I've been having this for ages. But yep, so I get that. So frozen veg, it's no better than fresh veg. I think it's actually a little bit better, personally. It's fresher. The only thing that's different is the taste. It's not as rich. It can be a little bit watery sometimes, but I don't mind. It's cheaper, saves me money, and it's just as good. And then I love these as well. I tend to sort of not stir fry as such because I don't add oil to the pan. I just tend to brown them a little bit, get them a little bit burnt with a little bit of salt and pepper and some garlic. And talking about salt and pepper and garlic, these are my condiments. So I got garlic granules, which is amazing. I love them so much. Literally put them on virtually everything. Black pepper, some salt, and then the best bloody chili sauce in the world, sriracha. That literally goes in all my meals, apart from breakfast, of course. It's amazing. The macros are unbelievable. I mean, for 100 grams of that, just have a look. However, look at the ingredients list. Some people could be a bit worried about the ingredients. I'm okay with it. I don't use a lot of it, even though I say I put it on my meals. I literally just put a little squirt into my meals. I mean, it's one semi-bad thing that I tend to have in my diet. But then what is it? What's bad about it, really? I mean, there's a few E numbers in there, but I'm cool with it. It's all about balance, right? Then I've got my favorite drink ever. Yes, that's zero sugar. Oh, geez, look at that. That's not dirt, guys. That's actually burnt. Anyway, macros on these, amazing. There's nothing in them. Why do I have this? Just a treat. I do like coming home and having a glass of cold Fanta. I literally just have one glass, really. So this is not sort of my main liquid source, but I do like it. And again, when you're in a diet, it's all providing sustainability, doing things that you do enjoy eating and drinking. So I don't drink alcohol as such during the week and hardly ever at the weekend. So that is my go-to treat. It doesn't affect my digestion. Tastes pretty good. So yeah, and then I have jumbo oats. Much prefer them to rolled oats. Apparently, it actually fills you up more than rolled oats because they're not because the grain itself is bigger. When it sits in your stomach, it takes a little bit longer to digest. It's kind of like the difference between eating a whole apple and having an apple juice. Obviously, the whole apple will fill you up a bit more. This is kind of the same. So I tend to just make overnight oats with that, and that's literally it. So these are pretty much my staples. I don't really have anything else. If I do, like I said to you, it's just the odd muffin. But nothing really changes from this. I tend to keep my diet very simple because I find it reduces my cravings when I'm dieting or when I'm trying to lower my body fat. So I keep my food fairly plain in a way. But to be honest, these are just my staples even. And it's just food that I really enjoy eating. So there you have it. That's literally what I eat. I don't tend to mess around with things like couscous or quinoa or anything like that, simply because I cannot be asked to cook it. I do enjoy the taste of it, but it's just a pain in the ass to cook. I live on my own. I don't know what my hair's doing today, but kind of weird. But yeah, I don't bother with couscous or any of those things, to be fair. Yeah, that's it. I will check in later with an update of how the week went. But yeah, see you in a bit. So that's week 1 wrapped up. I am down 7 pounds, which you might think, Jesus, that's a lot of weight to lose in a week. However, a lot of it is water retention. It's glycogen depletion. So obviously, because I'm working now in a calorie deficit, my muscle tissue, my liver is retaining less glycogen. So glycogen is the energy stored in your muscles and your liver. You get mainly from carbohydrates. So obviously I dropped some water weight from water retention, some weight from that as well, and maybe a little bit of fat loss, perhaps, I'm not sure. But I do feel that definitely lost some weight this week. I noticed it massively running, not just today.
when I ran outside, but sort of when I did my my conditioning runs on the curved treadmill this week, I felt great. Bench is starting to feel a little bit weird. As soon as I lose body fat or weight, like especially water retention, I do notice it loads on bench. The levers change slightly, but I'm not that fussed. I'll just grind it out, and if the strength starts to drop, then I'll just appreciate it, because I know I'm in a calorie deficit. My number one priority is to drop body fat at the moment. It's not to maximize my strength. So I just want to be light. I want to try and retain as much strength, and I want to get fit as hell for this duathlon in a few weeks. Next week, I want to maybe do a full day of eating, which a lot of you have requested. I'll probably do that and a meal prep video, which is so simple, dead easy. What else can I do next week? I might do something a little bit different next week. I'll think about it. But yeah, so that's week number 1 down. Hit my calories, stayed consistent, stuck to my training, stuck to my macros. There was no refeed this week. There's no need. I'm probably not going to do it next week either. I might do it the following week. I'll see how I feel, but so far I'm feeling good. I'll only do it if I feel that my training is stalling. But so far so good. Volume is still relatively low. Going back to work properly on Monday. So I had a bit of a sort of light week getting back into work, as I've just started my own private studio, which is really exciting. And I think that's it. So I'll leave you guys until next week. Oh, before I forget, just keep an eye on my Insta stories, because I'm starting to use them a little bit more, just to keep things a little bit more interesting. So I tend to log my training a little bit on there now. So take a look. And in case you're wondering what I've done this week, I might as well mention it. So Monday, I had a double session. We had a lower body session. At the moment, it's relatively high volume, meaning that I am doing a bunch of reps. For example, sets of 12 on Bulgarian split squats with a barbell, which is absolutely grim. And following that, I just do some conditioning work. It's just some sprints, straightforward. Next day, it's just a bench mainly day with some accessory. Wednesday is a sort of longer endurance session. That tends to be the lighter one, but it's just longer. And then Thursday is a deadlift based day. I am doing a lot of deadlifts at the moment, which I don't mind. I've actually started doing conventionals again. Conventional deadlifts. Sorry, sometimes I don't make myself clear. I just hate deadlifts from the floor. I just don't know. I don't know if I know I make myself this excuse, but I do have quite short arms. That's probably why my bench is sort of alright, in sort of like the powerlifting realm. But when it comes to deadlift, I am shocking. It literally feels like I can't grab the bar that low down and stay tight and grind the reps out. I just lose tightness, and then I'm worried about hurting my back. So I'm just starting that from scratch again, getting my technique right again. And I'm doing a lot of core work and hamstring work just to see if any of that helps. And then Friday is mainly bench and just a bunch of accessory work, nothing fancy. And then Saturday, today, is usually another conditioning session, or tends to be a longer session. But like I said to you guys, I've got 2 coaches. I've got a running coach and a powerlifting coach, and they usually just do the training for me. So I don't really get a say on what I do and what I don't, so, which I'm cool with. Which brings me to talk about coaching a little bit. See, now I'm going off a tangent. Just because you're a personal trainer or your personal trainer's got a coach, that does not imply that the coach itself. So for example, in my instance, it doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. It simply means that I've let someone else take the stress of programming me, taking into account all the variables that could affect the rate of progress, including fatigue, volume, intensity. And you got to think, I am combining strength and endurance together. Imagine the ball ache that would be for one person to manage while still training, while dieting, while tired as hell. And when you're tired, you make some very stupid decisions sometimes. And you do tend to get a little bit lazy sometimes, and you could kind of say, oh, I don't really need to do that. But if you pay someone to do it, to make you do it, then you're more likely to stick to it. So it creates that accountability element of coaching, which is very important, I think. And this is probably why I've had a fair few personal trainers working with me. It doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about, because they know. I know them closely and perfectly happy with their ability to coach other people, to online coach other people. But sometimes it's just so nice to kind of just leave the process to someone else. So that's something for you guys to think about. All right. But anyway, I'm going to go off. I'll see you later. Ciao.